a quick correction. We were not in the Queen Chili restaurant. It's a King Chili restaurant. So you're going to search for a Queen Chili restaurant. You might not be able to find it. Right. Now we are in the Green Park, which is nearly opposite of us, just across the street, and then little 50 meters, and then you are from that King Chili restaurant. So let's continue. Exodus chapter 9, it's just still Dimapur here in Nagaland, India. Exodus chapter 9, verse 18. Behold, about this time tomorrow, I will cause very heavy hail to fall, such as never has been in Egypt from the day it was founded until now. So what is the next plague going to be? It's going to be hail, right? And now you can say, yeah, I mean, these guys might have seen hail before in the past. Now, it does not rain a lot in Egypt. Their water comes from the Nile. That is where they get their water from. Okay, so hail in per se would most likely not have been something that they have seen a lot, but would have seen some other times, at least in parts of the country. I remember it was in 2006, living in Siberia. We had, outside the house, we had a patch of green grass and a little lawn there. And I remember it was in December, beginning of December, and we had no snow. Now, for Siberia, in December, to have no snow, it snowed before, it all, what's now the word, it all melted. And then it was kind of warm. It was plus temperatures in December. It's supposed to be minus 40. It was plus, I think, 6 or something like that. It was unheard of. And I remember in that year, that same year, that same day, there were no snow in Siberia, but there were, lo and behold, snow in Egypt on the pyramids, right? Go figure that one out. But I know, yes, it was before, because all that cold Siberian air was not going in the east-west direction, but was going in the north-south direction, as sometimes happened. And so now in this case, the hail that's going to come, it's not just the normal kind that they might have seen before, or at least according to they saw before. Now this is going to be the kind of big stones that they have never seen before. Totally exceptional. So we get the exact timing again, the next day, this time. Secondly, the size is something that is out of the norm, right? All the time from the inception of Pharaoh, Egypt, right? When Egypt was founded, they have never seen something like this. Verse 19, now therefore send, get your livestock and all that you have in the field into safe shelter. For every man and beast that's in the field and is not brought home will die when the hail falls on them. So here we get a different this plague is different than the others that came before. Why? Before there were the area where the Jews, the Hebrews were living, and the Egyptians, they were divided. So the bad things only happened in, understandably, the area of the Egyptians, not in the sides of the Hebrews. And then after another plague, there was all the animals, the livestock of the plague and the livestock, and all the Egyptian livestock dying, and the Hebrew livestock, not one of them dying. But in this case now, the Egyptians are given a choice, right? I'm going to send this hail, but you have a choice. You can bring in your animals from the field and they won't be destroyed ultimately. So bring them into safe shelter. Okay, now leaving them under trees is not safe shelter, and understandably they need to be under a good enough roof that's going to withstand that kind of hail as well. And so God is, through Moses, telling the people now that you as Egyptians now have a choice as well. Are you going to listen to Pharaoh, or are you going to listen to me? You are suffering because of Pharaoh, of your leader. But if you listen to me, I have proven myself now already a number of times, bring in your livestock from the field. Hide them into a safe shelter, put them in a safe shelter, and then ultimately they're not going to die. So all of these that will be brought home, will be in a safe shelter, they're not going to die. But those not brought home, they're going to die. When this hail, okay, now understandably there's no hail around here. I don't even know if it hails here, but I mean, imagine like the rocks kind of here, okay? Imagine this is now hail. Okay, if this isn't a hailstone, it's going to be kind of nearly like a rock, right? If this falls on you, it's coming from a height that means the velocity is very high. It's going to kill you. It can kill you. Okay, now smaller ones, okay, it's not, but the big one like this, it's a hail. If it's a hailstone, it's going to kill you. So, if they bring him to shelter, then nothing will happen. That is the choice they had now. The first time the Egyptians are getting a choice. Verse 20. Then whoever feared the word of the Lord among the servants of Pharaoh hurried his slaves and his livestock into the houses. But whoever did not pay attention to the word of the Lord left his slaves and his livestock in the field. So those fearing God, by now, I think a number of them feared God, the word of the Lord that is, that came via Aaron through Moses, Aaron, and we know the whole story by now. Those who feared this word, they did as God said. They brought in those animals, they hid them, they took them into shelter. But those who ultimately did not, and I just need to move the car coming, those ultimately who did not fear God, they left the slaves out there, they left the animals out there. So the animals of those who feared God ultimately was saved, and the animals of those who didn't fear the word of God was not saved. Just interesting thinking about the word of God, right? It's I don't know, we have the word of God. Do you fear the word of God? I mean, in other words, the word that God spoke, do you fear that? Those who feared, they brought in the animals were saved, the slaves were saved, but those who did not fear, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. Those who didn't fear, the animals were out there in the field, and they ultimately is going to be destroyed. They will die in the process.